how I'm going, I'm trying to get so much out of this shit and get away from it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be around this too much longer. I don't even want the spotlight. Y'all can have it.
All right, all right. It's your boy Dolo Ren. You already know what's going on. We back with it. First off, thank you for the love on the Canelo and Crawford prediction video. I really appreciate that. This is the combat sports world. Doesn't really, just because you have a bad prediction, it doesn't mean that you're lesser of. It's the biggest drama show in the world, right? So anything is gonna happen. But hopefully I'm right. Hopefully I'm right, and I think a lot of y'all agree with me. So hopefully we get to see a good fight regardless of what happens, but I still think Canelo's going to take it. Ninth round, liver shot, broken ribs, possibly. Right now, I want to talk about the Jake Paul and Tank Davis fight. I'm not going to give you a prediction because giving a prediction on such a stupid circus event really isn't up my alley. Jake Paul's like walks around at 200 pounds, like just completely different weight classes. It's like a disrespect. Like it's really like kind of this is disrespecting the sport. Like I guess it's getting some eyes, but now we're kind of like we're kind of devolving. What are we doing now? No, this ain't Russia. Where Russia they got the 3v1 girl versus man fights and the 3v3 tag team matches. Like, what are we doing? Either way, I get it. They're gonna make some money, whatever. I do want to talk about Tank Davis, Gervonta Tank Davis being a coward, right? The dude is a coward. The dude is a coward. And I think this move really just like put the nail in the coffin, right? Because we're talking about a guy, right? That's one of the best in the sport at the moment. That holds that popularity token, right? And that holds that A-side advantage that Floyd Mayweather would talk about a lot, where he's able to really make any fight that he wants. Like Tank could make any fight that he wanted. He could have made Haney. He could have made Lomachenko when it was, in proper time. He could have fought Keyshawn Davis right after the Lemos fight or something like that. Maybe not, but they could have set that up, right? Like, well, I'll talk about that more later, but there's so many fights he could have made with Shakur, Teofimo, anybody. Shoot, he was talking bad about Crawford. Why don't you just go up to 147 and beat Crawford since you think so little of him, right? But we all see it's a facade. We all see a lot of the stuff Tank does is a facade. Now this is kind of like the final nail in the coffin with him fighting Jake Paul. This is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous because you're leaving Roach without a payday that he deserves and a rematch that he deserves in a competition sense. Not even just for a bag. Like we want to see that rematch run back, bro. And that's another theme of Tank's career where he doesn't, run it back with the people he's supposed to. But we'll get into that. But I just want to break it down why I feel like Tank is like the biggest coward in boxing and why he shouldn't be respected as much as people respect him. So we could start off with, the obvious one, the Ryan Garcia fight, where he made Ryan Garcia come down to weight and put the rehydration clause on him, the 10-pound rehydration clause. That's absolutely nuts. Because if you do that to Devin Haney, then Devin Haney would break every single rehydration clause. He rehydrates up to like a monster weight. Everybody knows that, and a lot of fighters do that too. But that was just kind of ridiculous. That's like a coward way to want to fight Ryan Garcia, right? Like, oh, we're going to fight on my terms and you're going to be severely limited in your ability to rehydrate. Coward stuff. And, he kind of did something similar with Leo Santa Cruz, where, Leo Santa Cruz was when he fought Leo Santa Cruz, Cruz was out of action for like a year and 2 months or something like that. It was like one of his biggest gaps of inactivity before he fought Tank, right? And he held a belt at super featherweight, where Tank held the belt at lightweight. So I understand like Leo Santa Cruz, and I gave Tank a lot of credit for that Leo Santa Cruz win for a long time. But when you look at the details and you look at how his career has gone, that Santa Cruz fight is like, yeah, it was a really good knockout, but it's just like really lackluster when you take into account the circumstances around it. Maybe Santa Cruz should have got maybe a tune-up before he fought Tank, right? But that's kind of Santa Cruz's fault for, jumping right back into it. I understand it might have been an allure of a bag and to fight a big name, but that was a bad return fight for Santa Cruz. Let's just be honest. And Tank knew that and took advantage of that, fighting a guy in a weight class lower than him. Who you think you are, Makhachev? Like, yeah, Makhachev beat Volk, but completely different standards. He at least gave he at least gave Volk a rematch, right? So whatever. Yeah, that's not cool. Not cool. That Santa Cruz fight has some asterisks next to it. And even the Gamboa fight, right? He came in 1.2 pounds heavier than Gamboa. And mind you, this is Gamboa's twilight of his career. This is a twilight of Gamboa's career. And you come in 1.2 pounds heavier. And then you want to disrespect him by shoving him. At that point, like Tank should have been completely respectful. Like, considering his space and his position in the sport compared to Gamboa Gamboa was a hell of a fighter. And, we don't blame him for taking that fight. He's a fighter. Of course, he would take a Tank fight, just like Leo Santa Cruz did, just like Ryan Garcia did. But let's be real, bro. Let's be real. You beat an old Gamboa and you came in overweight and he still fought you. So, like, another asterisk, Tank's career is just filled with asterisks, right? Even the Pitbull Cruz, the Isaac Cruz fight, right? That was a good back and forth. That was one of the better fights in like recent history. I'm not gonna lie, I will never say Tank can't fight. I'm just calling him a coward as far as like who he is and what he's supposed to resemble and supposed to be. I really just feel like he should have gave Pitbull a rematch as well. Like, there's some fights that just deserve rematches. Like, I believe Conor McGregor and Khabib should have had a rematch. I do low key think Marab and Umar should have a rematch sometime later in the future if Umar could bounce back and get a good win. John Jones and Dominic Reyes, that deserved a rematch. GSP and Johnny Hendricks, that deserved a rematch. Like, we're talking about so many fights that, yeah, like, we're talking about fights that should have been ran back. And Pitbull, Cruz, and Tank should have been a fight that should have been immediately ran back. And it would have been bigger the second time. And it would have had even more. Like, this, oh man, that's such a missed opportunity. I don't even like thinking about it. Now, with Lamont Roach Jr., Tank is not giving him a rematch because he'd rather fight Jake Paul. That's just not fair to Roach, bro. That's not fair at all. And a lot of experts, including Robert Garcia, said that Roach should have won the fight. He should have been gifted the decision. Not even gifted, he earned that decision, right? Because how does Tank take a knee and it's not a 10-8 round? That's just not fair, bro. It's just not fair. It's not fair. Or 10-9 round, whatever. 10-8, 10-8. But yo, it's just nuts, bro. Like it should have gave Ryan a rematch too, to be honest, at like a proper weight with a proper contract. But then again, Ryan lost that fight. He chose to take the fight. I get it. And Ryan's been on one, since I lost to Rolly. I just feel like Tank ducked a lot of rematches that he was supposed to give. There's a lot of asterisks next to the wins that he has. Now let's talk about fights that didn't happen, like the Haney fight, which is probably not going to happen now. The Shakur fight, I kind of get it because there was ramblings and, apparently there was like a deal, an offer sent to Shakur, but Shakur didn't want to take it, which was probably smart, right? If you're looking out for yourself and your career, maybe that's smart to not take a really flawed Tank offer. And I don't know the details of that, and I think only them two really know that. But the Shakur Stevenson thing, that's kind of a little iffy. Although Shakur is growing on me as a fighter, and his ability is being shown more, especially with that last fight he had, I think against Cepeda. Could have fought Lomachenko, right? The problem with Lomachenko is that Lomachenko had been talking about fighting the best. Lomachenko would have ducked a Tank fight back, 5 years ago. Now that Lomachenko's old, now Tank wants to send an offer, and now he's looking at him as like a stepping stone now for like looking at Lomachenko as an old fighter that could be used as a stepping stone, which is not cool, bro. This fight should have been made a long time ago. So Lomachenko decided to say no, and that's another fight that we lost, right? Another guy that Tank low key ducked. And could have fought Keyshawn Davis before. Right now Keyshawn Davis it's like his career is in limbo. I don't know what's going on, but he showed himself to act really criminally in one of the last events he was at, and not a good look. I don't know what's up with Keyshawn. I do really like and appreciate Keyshawn's ability. I've seen him sparring with Hitchens. I've seen his fights. I think Keyshawn is a pretty damn good fighter. He got to get it together. Starting fights and behind the scenes at the events, it's not cool, bro. You'll get yourself blackballed immediately. And it seems like that's what's going on with Keyshawn. But either way, Tank was talking down on Keyshawn's win over Lemos, and Keyshawn absolutely put Lemos the fuck out. He beat the fuck out of Lemos, and Tank wanted to talk down on it like it's not a good win or whatever. But when Hitchens was life and death against Lemos during that fight, when he almost got knocked out, and we all saw it, Tank didn't have nothing to say about that because Tank and Hitchens were friends, and Tank can't talk about his friends. Just like he talked bad about Crawford and is gonna defend Spence, even though if Spence was anybody else, Tank would have been talking down on Spence too. It's not cool, bro. Like it's not cool. You're running your mouth and you're ducking these fighters. Us as fans lost out on those fights, and it's not cool. It's really not cool. This is what kind of brought me to make this video because like it's just kind of enough, yo. It's kind of enough. You're ducking Lamont Roach Jr. now to fight Jake Paul. I understand you want the bread. And you've made it clear to us, and I think that's something fans should know, that Tank has made it clear that he doesn't really care about the competition aspect of the sport. He doesn't. He really took the Mayweather approach, right? This is the Mayweather effect, where you build yourself up as a premier talent, you showcase your skills against subpar opponents on a world stage, and then you start calling shots after that because you got the popularity and the people rock with you. Then you start nitpicking and cherry picking fights due to circumstances of weight, inactivity, style, like all type of except that Mayweather still fought the legends. He still fought. He at least fought Cotto, even though it was too late to fight Cotto. He at least fought Pacquiao, even though it was too late to really fight Pacquiao. He at least fought Shane Mosley, even though Shane Mosley was basically beginning that twilight of his career at that point. Just like Helios said to Kratos in God of War Ragnarok, who am I to begrudge you of your idol? And even though Tank will talk crap about Mayweather now, let's be real. He basically outlined his whole game plan on how to maneuver in the boxing world because of Floyd. Floyd brought him into the undercard of the Mayweather and McGregor fight. If it's not the most bought pay-per-view event, then it's like up there. I think it is the most bought pay-per-view event. So Tank got that exposure from being on that undercard. The world saw what he was able to do on the biggest scale of boxing ever, or combat sports ever, with Mayweather and McGregor, and he chose to take his career in this direction. And that's just the stuff that pertains to boxing. We're not talking about how he's a criminal, how he beats up his baby moms, how he disrespected Crawford's baby mother, right? That's just absolutely abhorrent. How could you talk about a legend like that and then attack them in a personal way against their baby mother? That's horrible, yo. Just him acting like a gangster, like being racist and stuff, like always making things about race or, always making it about like, oh, you not from the hood, yada yada, like stupid, ignorant stuff, bro. And you just sound dumb. You don't even really know how to talk to people or talk at a press conference. It's like you're just an idiot, like a fucking bum animal, yo. Nobody really wants to see this no more. This is why so many people go to UFC because we got pretentious assholes like Tank, yo, that don't want to fight, don't want to give the fans what they deserve. It doesn't matter how many Chrome Hearts heavy bags he has. It doesn't matter how many Chrome Hearts whips he got. Like apparently he got a whole Chrome Heart crib or something like that. I don't know, bro. But they kind of give the coward the gas to keep going. And now Jake Paul is giving him the ultimate gas by putting like 100 million in his pockets. For me to say I'm not gonna watch the fight, that'd be a lie. I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna be analyzing it. I'm just gonna be watching it with the guys, kind of just like seeing, all right, just let's get ready for the circus show, right? Hopefully Lamont Roach Jr. I don't want him to take that Carmel Matan fight. I think Carmel needs to build up his legacy a little more and take some other fights before that. He's still very young, and Mayweather's kind of pushing him in there against a guy like Roach, who's proven to be able to beat a guy like Tank. Slow down a little bit, Carmel. As far as Roach, like, don't take that fight, bro. That's kind of like Mayweather's kind of dangling the carrot in front of you of a Mayweather bag. Like, we don't need that, bro. I want Hitchens to fight Roach next. Because I think Hitchens offered him a shot at his title. I think Hitchens and Roach is the fight to now make. Because it's a fight that's worth making. Hitchens has a belt. Like, let's do it, bro. That's kind of where I'm going to leave it. Gervonta Davis just did his fans dirty. He looked out for himself his entire career in every aspect. And he's not the courageous warriors of the past. He's not a DeMarcus Corley. He's not a Pernell Whitaker. I think even Lucas Matisse is more of a warrior than him, right? But it is what it is. We got what we got. And I don't know. I guess we'll just watch the Tank and Paul fight. If Tank ends up knocking out Paul, that'd be really funny. If Paul knocks out Tank, that'd be really funny too. It's just a funny outcome, no matter. It's like like it doesn't matter. Like you just crack open a beer and just like watch it brainlessly, you know? So that's what's gonna happen with that. And I think Tank is a coward. And I gave you all the reasons that I think he should be considered and labeled as a coward. So if y'all agree, let me know in the comments. If y'all don't agree, let me know in the comments. If y'all like this content, subscribe, share, comment, I try to interact back. So most of the time I do. So yeah. I'll be in the comment section with y'all talking, debating and stuff. So yeah, let me know what you think. This is Dolo Ren, and that's where we're gonna end it. Go check out my other channel, Ghost of Arthur, where I'm talking about real life subjects, real life everyday topics, right? Go follow the Productive Conversations podcast. My boy Matt Brown runs that. Ryan Page, Jose, Allison. I'm sorry, I don't know the last names. They're doing good things over there. I upload UFC prediction videos over there. So, for UFC 320, I'll have something up on the Productive Conversations podcast page. I'll share it here, promote it here, on this channel and my other channels on social media, all that. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Once again, it's Dolo Ren. I'll catch y'all next time.